Hey, my name is Marco. I'm a former pro opera singer turned voice actor, and today I have a very special episode. As you know, I love Final Fantasy XIV, and I know you love Final Fantasy XIV. The music video for Flow came out on the official Final Fantasy XIV YouTube page, and so I've invited Amanda Achen to come and hang out with me and listen to it together. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, greetings and salutations. How's it going? That's how I say hi to everybody nowadays.
Greetings and salutations.
Greetings and salutations.
Perfect. Well, I come in peace. Everything's fine. So we're gonna listen to this together, and obviously you've sung it, so you already know what's going on. But I don't know, and I still haven't finished Endwalker, so I'm pseudo spoiling this myself. I'm not watching. I'm just listening.
Spoiler alert! Don't watch the video.
Spoiler alert. But we're gonna have a nice little chat about this after we listen to it, and sort of just talk about, you know, how it made us feel, how it made you feel singing it, and you know, just some of the similarities and differences between, say, classical music, which I know you sing. Well, you sing everything. You sing everything. I mean, it's insane. Actually, I think you're probably one of the most talented people I know, because you do like jazz, pop. You do everything, don't you? Basically.
Ooh, I do everything.
It's insane. It's insane because, you know, I mean, like, what'd you say?
I get bored, so I like to have to do it.
I respect that. I respect that. Yeah. But it's crazy that you can sing so well in every single style, actually, which is really fascinating to me, because I only know how to sing an opera. So, all right, let's do it. Let's dive in. Spoiler warning.
Welcome and well met, my brave little spark. How long you've wandered, burned bright as a star. Oh, I have awaited you patiently all this time. Past every fate, now sing with me once more. Share of your life, far greater than memory. Its loss and love words cannot hold. Boundless the tale overflows, and carries Lord to see. Remember the rain, near and far beloved, each drop a blessing from heavens above, and how as time flowed on those waters became one, streams, rivers, and lakes reaching for the horizon, and far beyond they carry onward, however changed with each brief reflection, by setting sun, by
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so pretty.
Wow, it's so weird listening to it.
What do you think? And what do you think as like a person who like helped create it?
Well, I mean, I'm sure you have had the experience of like watching yourself back or listening to yourself back, and,
Yeah.
like, thinking of all the things that you could do differently or could have done. It's just so funny. I mean, yeah, it's just it's epic. Like the term
Mhm.
that comes to mind all the time when I'm thinking about this and talking about this is epic, and the story is an epic. It's just so incredible.
Yeah.
And the orchestration and the ends throughout. What I love about Soken is that, I mean, obviously he is a very multi-dimensional musician himself, and he's got
Absolutely.
the rock band, the Primals, and he plays jazz style and does this orchestral stuff. And so he's got this like classical rock,
Mhm. Mhm.
jazz, pop, and I have those things as well. And I think that's why he and I have really like, oh, this feels so good.
Yeah. It's a perfect marriage.
Yeah. Will you marry me? So good.
If you're watching, Soken. It's official.
Yeah. This is real. I get to go to Japan and meet him. Well, I
Oh, that's
with him in 2018, I think is when the tour came through LA, but I get to see
right.
him again since doing all this in Japan. So that's so exciting.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
what's amazing about this too, I mean, there are a few things as a listener, and as a also like one of your people, one of your opera people,
Yeah.
it's so cool to listen to this in terms of like just like your ability to, consonants at the beginning. It's like so crystal clear, and you're obviously evoking like a deep emotional sense here. And I think it's like it's so hard to toe that line between singing and like enunciating, and then also having like evoking an emotion for people and for yourself. And it's like really apparent that whatever you were doing in the room clearly translates really well. And also it's kind of cool because like this piece is both like this combo of jazz, but then I was just thinking about as it ascends and as you go up in pitch, like you do use some of the operatic technique, but then as since you are such a well-versed person in jazz and in pop and everything, you also bring that to it too. And I noticed this in the Shadowbringer stuff. You hear that in that too, and it's cool too in this piece because there are those motives, the leitmotifs from Tomorrow and Tomorrow in here too, right? And a bunch of other stuff. Am I right?
Yeah. There's a little bit of that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just crazy how you're able to like just I don't know, it's just like so clean and so smooth, and it's such it like in your mind, how different do you approach say this compared to I don't know, I guess anything else? I mean, obviously I know that you're super well versed in oratorio and classical music, but then also with your jazz standards and stuff too. How different is this for you? Like in general performance?
Yeah. Well, a big difference is I'm singing on mic as opposed to an
Mm.
oratorio being unmiked, right? And projecting to fill the room. So with the mic there, I can use a much different breath quality and breath pressure.
Mhm.
The economy of my air is a lot different. And so a lot of that pop aesthetic comes from that, like, instead of,
Mhm, right.
so using more of the breath to drive the sound there, because I have a microphone in front of me, is really a good way that I do that. And then I'll incorporate things like, like little Mariah Carey, things like a lot of
Yeah.
I do in there. He didn't write those in, but
Mhm.
when we're communicating, he's like, feel free to add some embellishments because it's just like he enjoys that, I enjoy that. So those little things like that obviously kind of bring that crossover pop aesthetic in while still maintaining when he's writing up there, it's written for soprano. I got high, I'm above the staff a lot of the time.
Mm.
Navigating that, and as the song progresses, I bring more of the vibrato and more of that classical approach while still using things like the scooping and the breath equality
Mm.
and the little runs and embellishments that are more typical of pop or jazz. And because I do sing jazz frequently, I'm both sorry, the dog's like, I want to talk now. I'm using that muscle. I'm a big dork.
That's okay. Respect. Same.
Exactly. If you're not a dork, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Not dorks here.
Yeah,
Um,
we're all dorks here.
it's our club. I'm flexing the muscles, or at least trying to flexing the muscles in the classical direction and the pop jazz direction. And I kind of lump pop and jazz into the same thing because it's just
Mm.
like classical and pop, right? They're
Mhm.
different. If I find that I'm doing one more than the other, it takes me a minute for the muscles, the faculty to come back and understand, oh, no, this is how you use your body to sing not on a mic. And I think a real big distinction between people who are trained classically and people who are not is that when you're training classically, you are not singing on a mic. And a lot
Right.
of classically trained singers that I know are terrified when you put a mic in front of them.
This big ass thing over here.
Alien
What is
machine.
this thing? I know.
Do it.
Lower the gain.
Yeah. So that's big. Making the mic my friend, which you're so familiar with your
Yeah.
work, what you do. And that really brings that crossover style into play for me.
Well, it's interesting that you say that too, because the mic, I feel like the mic can be a friend, and really the mic doesn't hide anything. Whereas, like, as well as I do, that when you're in a hall, if you have vocal irregularities or things like all that noise,
Mhm.
the mic obviously picks all that up, and so it's like in a way you get a more honest performance.
I
in
know,
front of
and that's what I like listening back to it. I'm like, ooh, I have moments of that. Well, and interestingly enough, I actually recorded and engineered myself for that,
Oh,
and did for tomorrow from Shadowbringers as well, because they contacted me during the pandemic, and I did it myself. I actually learned how to record and engineer all during the pandemic, and so I'm pretty proud
nice.
of being able to do that. And I got a new mic for this recording, which is a Neumann U87 copy,
Oh yeah. Oh,
which is like it picks up everything. So
everything.
you really got to have good technique, And I used a different mic on each recording that I've made for him, and I like it. And it's I still feel like I'm not an engineering pro. I'm doing a pretty good job, but there's a lot of subtlety and a lot of things that it picks up, that it catches, which is part of the magic and what makes it so evocative and so emotional. Is that, sure, like it's not a perfect performance, nothing ever is, but I think that brings this desire to like continue the journey and see through to completion, see something through to the other side, and really kind of hits home the meaning of the song and the story and the end of that chapter.
Absolutely. Well, one of the interesting things too, especially on the channel, there's often there'll be a song that has a choir in it or something, or like a soprano soloist over top, and usually it's the soprano soloist and that soloist in general that really brings the humanity, which ultimately is the goal, is to, right, yes, we understand that contextually it's in a video game and like it's about circumstances in a game, especially this song. However, at the end of the day, it is about like allowing people to feel and allowing people to go to a place and be emotional and really feel things that we in society we're told to bottle up, and it's our job as artists to sort of allow people to release that and to dive in. So what actually segues me into my next question, like I'm careful about this question because context is tricky, but like, were you told the context, and B, if you were, is that helpful or harmful? Obviously you understand, being a performer, like sometimes when you know the plot of the opera, you know where it's going, and that can be both a good thing and a bad thing. So I was sort of curious how that discussion went.
Yeah. And I hope this information isn't shocking to any of you, but I actually did not get the context. And as an artist, though, like you said, sometimes it can ruin the plot, because then you as the individual don't have as much freedom to create your own understanding and interpretation based off of your experiences. And I think in any sort of art, the art lies in the interpretation. You can copy stuff, right? If you're a painter, you can copy the masters and do something there, but is that art or is that copying? You can do a cover of a song that sounds exactly like the record. Is that art or is that copying? I think that when you're making something totally new and fresh and you're imbuing your own personal history and experiences and understanding and coloring the canvas in your own way, the canvas is the song, you know? So I'm grateful for the opportunities when I don't know the full story, because it's so much more personal for me, because they are, you know, it is dealing with things that we all are dealing with in humanity, the themes here. And it's so relatable to people who play the game and who don't. And as an artist, I wanted my performance to be something that you can take this outside of the game and still be moved by it. And I hope that was the case.
I mean, I haven't gotten to this part in the story, so to me, it was very moving, and I, you know, I think you bring up such a good point, which is what the point I literally make in every single episode, or try to make anyway, is that we don't need to know the context of anything to appreciate the significance of it, whether it's flow, whether it's something from Elden Ring or whatever. Like, you can listen to something and be like, wow, this is really, really, really moving, and come away with an emotional connection to it without having to know all the nitty-gritty details. They're nice.
Sure.
Maybe it's more impactful, but
Yeah.
you don't need that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, see, I got another singer on here. This is what I mean. Everybody
Cool. I'm glad that this is something that you actually talk about, because I definitely feel in my heart of hearts that that's kind of my mission as a singer and as an artist, is to make it relevant to anybody who's listening to it. Because a lot of people too, I mean, opera, right? If you're not reading the super titles, if you're not familiar with it, the plot, and if you don't know the language, you have no idea what's going on. No, not at all. So you have to just be delivering something that is so personal to you as an actor, as a performer, and that's gonna carry it regardless of how many details the people in the audience know. And I mean, and a lot of times I'm familiar with the plots of stuff, and I'm not reading the super titles, and I'm not a fluent French or Italian speaker, so it's not in my head. I'm just like, oh, look at all the cool shapes they're making on stage. I'm crying, and I don't know why, but I feel something.
I feel sad. What is this? No, I totally know. I totally get it. You know, I'm also curious too, from your perspective, like, what was it like, since you recorded this in the pandemic? Like, what was it like to record? Like, what's the process like?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, it was a little tricky. So, Soken, for this piece in particular, he was like, "I'm writing something for you."
That's amazing. That's a great feeling. No pressure. Also,
he's like, "Will you please listen?" He sent me a MIDI track, MIDI. Blah, blah.
MIDI file.
Yeah, he sent me a MIDI file. And he was like, "Will you see if this is a good key for you? Because I'm writing this." What did he said? Something like my favorite singer. I don't know if he said my favorite singer, but it was something really sweet like that. Like, don't quote me on that. It was something. And I know people are gonna go on Reddit like, Soken's favorite singer.
Soken said Amanda is his favorite singer.
And I quote, "No, don't. I'm not."
No. You didn't hear it first.
But he was like, "Will you listen to this and let me know if this is a good key for you?" So if you're not familiar with MIDI, it sounds like robots. It is. It's weird. And it's kind of hard to like get a real idea of how something sounds, especially when you're like singing along to, I didn't have the sheet music at that point. I just had the MIDI track, right? And so I'm like singing along to the robot MIDI sound. And I'm like, oh, okay, I feel like this is a good key. All right, that's fine. Yeah, great. And in hindsight, I'm like, I could have had it a lot lower. I think. So high. I can do it. But when I sing jazz and when I sing pop, I'm like down. Like you can't even hear it in my speaking voice. My speaking voice is low for soprano. I think, I got the range and I warm up and I can sing. I love high Ds. I love me some high Ds. But I prefer the tessitura, if you are familiar with that term, the range where most of the notes are happening, right? The tessitura, to be a little bit lower, especially when things are so wordy, and especially when I'm really trying to get text across. And in the very beginning of this conversation, you were mentioning how you thought my diction was great.
Yeah, it was amazing, actually.
And sometimes I'm like, wait, what am I saying? Like, I'm trying to listen to it objectively. I'm like, do I actually understand everything I'm saying? No, know. And I've seen some like mistyped lyrics. I'm like, oh,
Uh-oh. Is that my fault? Oh my God.
my fault. I'm sorry.
Right.
Anyway, weird singer things.
Yeah, I know.
Like diction is so important. But it's tough. It's really tough when your tessitura is so high. So
Yeah.
back to the MIDI robot, you're my favorite singer moment. I was like, okay, yeah, no, this is great. This is perfect. It could have been lower. So then when they deliver me the files, there's so much rubato in this, and historically all the things I've done for them have had so much rubato. All
Can
of
you
it.
explain rubato to everybody? I know what it is, but they may not know.
It goes like this.
Oh, oh.
Lugubrious. It's when you're not singing something metronomically, where you can kind of slow down a little bit and then come
And then
back
we speed
to
up. Right.
something, and then maybe you pull back, and then now we're on the metronome,
Mhm.
And so there's a lot of that happening, especially in the beginning.
Mhm.
And they stay. I don't have my favorite beret in my hair. My lucky beret. Where is it? Okay.
I'm keeping this in.
Keep it in. I want people to know how much of a derp I am. Because it's real. The derp is real. So much rubato, and it's really very challenging when you don't have a conductor in the room with you.
Right.
And the stems are the things that you record to, that you drop into your DAW, your digital workspace. And I couldn't really see very clearly on the stems, like when things would come in, the volume wouldn't get that much louder.
Mhm.
So I was like guessing a lot, and I this is funny. I've never put this together. I would compare it to trying to sync up to a really, really challenging, like trending TikTok sound.
Oh God.
Right? I don't do that actually, and maybe if I did, I would have been better at this.
It's so hard. It's so hard though, because you're breathing and you're like, you're like tanking up for support, and you're also in front of the mic. Like, there's so many things that go into it. It's so hard.
Yeah. So, I did my best, but it's a challenge when it's rubato and you don't actually know what's going on, and you're trying to memorize it, but you're also trying to get all your singing things to be working well. So, and sometimes the tempi are quite fast,
Mhm.
and again, really wordy. So if it were up to me, like I would imagine that maybe if Soken and I were working together, that maybe we would be able to communicate like in person together, right? Communicate a little bit about the tempo or something. But I've got to work with what I do, and it's beautiful. That was the choices that they made, and those are good choices. And so it's my job to make that work. And I have seen some comments on the there's some videos of me up from the FanFest from last year, where
Which is great, by the way.
thanks.
It's very good.
Yeah, that was fun. We could talk about that for a minute too. But same deal. They sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh, this is really fast." All of this comments are like, "You're singing it too fast," and I'm like, "I didn't have a choice."
It's not my choice.
Like,
This is what I was given.
yeah, you sing it slower if you want. I would have liked to sing it slower. But you just got to do it, right? And
Yeah.
the FanFest was really fun, because when I went in and when I showed up for the filming, I literally felt like at the Square Enix Studios in LA, I felt like I had stepped on set of a dream that I've been having my entire life, where I get to combine acting and singing, and I do some modeling if you're on my Instagram. I combined all those, just like I have multiple kind of genres of singing that I do. I have multiple backgrounds of performing, and to be in a closed set with dramatic lighting and a fog machine
Dog. Yeah.
following me around with the camera. I'm like, can I get on the floor in this moment? They're like, yes. So I was such a diva, and I came in and I was like totally memorized, and they had a prompter up. They're like, do you need this? And like,
No, please.
you could hear me drop in there. They were so impressed, and it was so exciting that they were so excited to like be witnessing what was happening, that it just like fueled the whole thing, and just it felt like a dream come true. And I look back at those videos of that performance, I'm like, oh my god, that was so much fun. I want to keep doing that. Can't wait to do that again.
I know. Well, I mean, it really is such an amazing opportunity to be able to like, just sort of like combine all of these aspects of what you do so well, and like in your comfort zone in a way, you know what I mean? Because it'd be so easy for somebody else to be like, what do I do here? This is a lot. And you instead are just like, I know how to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I hadn't necessarily done all of those things in tandem
Right.
before, but because I've done them so much on their own, and because I've been like visualizing myself doing that kind of work, that's the magic, right? Is if you can like really see yourself doing these things, visualize yourself, you can get a lot of, I think, of practicing done where you're not actually singing in a studio, practicing singing the music. You can be thinking about it. Your body responds. You can be feeling things. You can be visualizing it and feeling how it goes. And then when you do finally step into that practice room and start practicing, you've actually done a lot of the work in your mind. So much of it is here. So to be able to do that with singing and both with the type of performance that's required for shooting a music video like that, like just what I daydream about. The first song I ever actually sang, so a little backstory of how I met Soken, because I've never even like told anybody about this, and I do plan to make a video for my own YouTube where I'm like, this is my story. Hi guys.
You should, as you should.
Yeah, no, I need to like ASAP. I think it was 2018, 2019, Distant Worlds came through LA, and I was contracted as the soloist by the person who was contracting the choir. And I had done works like Carmina Burana and Pooling Gloria as the soprano for this director before. And on the Pooling Gloria concert, the second half, he was just like, pick any French music you want to sing. And I was like, great, I'm going to do some jazz. I'm going to do Olivia and Rose. I'm going to do some Henri Dupac, and I'm going to do Habanera. Like all of it.
I'll do it all.
Yeah, why not? And he knew that I could do the jazzy pop stuff, and just like thought of me for both Final Fantasy and, get this, peeps, you're gonna freak out, I think, because I feel like there's a lot of crossover here. That same year, I did a concert that was the music of Miyazaki.
Oh, cool.
I got to meet and work with Joe Hisaishi. And this year, I am also doing 2 concerts with him again. I'm going to do that in the Seattle Symphony in June, and in New York at Radio City in August. So singing
Oh my gosh.
Mononoke theme song, Ponyo, and My Neighbor Totoro. And I'm working with Joe Hisaishi, and it's just like...
That's... it's awesome that you're excited, because you really should be. I mean, those are such incredible experiences and opportunities that, you've positioned yourself in such a good way to be able to like have this stuff, and yeah, there's always some luck involved, but it's like luck and positioning equals opportunity. And clearly that's the case for you. So that's awesome. And you deserve it, obviously.
Thanks. I feel like it's a bit of an underdog story, because it was like, I was just kind of randomly contracted. But what's so special to me is that I, again, coming back to the artistry, didn't know the context for the Final Fantasy stuff. Actually hadn't even seen very many Miyazaki films. Now I have. But I didn't know the context, but I became the vessel for the music and for the composers, and gave myself over to the artistry of the music. And clearly that made an impact on the composers both times. So if you're being true to the artistry and true to yourself and your own interpretation, the magic happens. Like that's why this happened to me. It wasn't like I was positioned in a great place and I knew the right people. This is like I did the work, and now it's working. So
now it's coming to fruition.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, look, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know that you're super busy doing all sorts of different things. So, I appreciate you taking the time. But yeah, thank you, Amanda. I appreciate it. I will leave your socials and stuff in the about section, and people can click on that. And then, yeah, thank you so much, everybody. As always, if you want to support the channel, feel free to check out all those links, both to support me, support Amanda. And if you want to join the Discord, feel free. We love talking about Final Fantasy in the Discord. And as always, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.
Mwah!
See ya. Bye.
Bye.